I never imagined my entire family would fall apart because of a whisper my grandmother made with her final breath. I still remember how her fingers trembled as she pulled me closer. Her eyes were half closed, her voice fading, but her words burned into my soul. "Forgive me," she said, "for what I did to your mother, and for the lie that shaped all our lives." Those were the last words she ever spoke, but they were only the beginning of the chaos. My grandmother, Aïcha, had always been the pillar of our family. Strong, proud, the kind of woman who survived war, exile, and a husband who never truly loved her. Growing up, I thought she was unbreakable. She taught me everything: how to read, how to pray, how to defend myself, and how to hide pain behind a smile. But some days, when she thought no one was watching, I would catch her crying alone, staring at an old photograph she kept locked in a drawer. I never asked why. Now I wish I had. When she became sick, I was the one who stayed with her. Not my mother, not my uncle, me. She trusted me in a way she never trusted anyone else. In her last days, she often spoke to herself, sometimes in French, sometimes in her village tongue. And every night, she repeated the same phrase: "It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault." I thought it was the fever, but now I know it was guilt. On her final night, as her breathing grew shallow, she gripped my wrist. "Sarah," she whispered, I lied. I lied to protect myself, not the family." My heart froze. "What lie, Grandma?" But her voice cracked. She pointed weakly toward her old wooden chest in the corner of the room. "You will find everything there," she said, "after I'm gone." Then she breathed out and didn't breathe again. I opened the chest the next morning. Inside, there were only 3 objects: a faded photograph of a young woman holding a baby, a letter, sealed but yellowed with age, a silver bracelet with initials I didn't recognize, SM. I didn't understand. The woman in the photograph, she wasn't my grandmother. She looked softer, freer, almost luminous. And the baby she held, a baby with the same eyes I saw every morning in the mirror, looked exactly like me. My hands shook. Who was this woman? And why did my grandmother keep this hidden? When I opened the letter, my entire world cracked. It was addressed to my mother. The handwriting was elegant, written in perfect French. "My beloved daughter, if you are reading this, it means I never had the chance to watch you grow. But know that I loved you, even when they took you from me." My heart stopped. "Took you from me." I read faster. "I begged your grandmother to let me keep you, but she said I was too young, too poor, too shameful for this family." A cold wave rushed through me. "My daughter, I did not abandon you. I was forced to leave. Forgive me." The letter was signed, "Salma M., your real mother." I felt the ground disappear beneath me.
My mother, the woman who raised me, was not my biological mother. My grandmother had taken me from the young woman in the photo, taken me and given me to her older daughter, the woman I grew up calling Mom. I couldn't breathe. I thought of every time my grandmother scolded my mother, every time she controlled her, humiliated her, every time my mother tried to speak and my grandmother silenced her. She hadn't been strict. She had been hiding her guilt. When I showed my mother the letter, she collapsed into a chair. Her hands covered her face, and for the first time in my life, I saw her cry like a child. "I knew," she whispered. "She told me when I was 14, but she swore me to silence." My voice trembled. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because she threatened to throw me out of the house," my mother said. "I had nowhere else to go, and I loved you too much to lose you." Hearing that both broke me and healed me. I needed to know the truth, so I searched everywhere: old records, hospitals, even immigration offices. 3 weeks later, I found a clue: A woman named Salma M. had lived in Marseille for years. My heart raced. Was she alive? Would she want to see me? Or had I arrived 25 years too late? I traveled alone, terrified of what I might find. When I reached the address, a neighbor told me something I wasn't prepared for. Salma had died 10 years earlier. My knees went weak. She had lived her entire life believing her daughter had been stolen, and she died with that wound still open. My voice broke as I asked, "Did she ever speak about her daughter?" The neighbor nodded. Every day. I returned home with a storm inside me. My grandmother's image, strong, proud, untouchable, was shattered forever. I'm still angry, still grieving a mother I never met, still trying to understand how love can bend into something so cruel. But I also know this. My story didn't begin the day I was born. It began the day my grandmother made a choice she could never undo. Her confession broke our family, but it also freed a truth that had been buried for decades. And now, for the first time in my life, I know who I really am.